All right, I'm going to try and make this one a little quicker than my average one. So gold has been keeping its gains, right? Just a bit of sideways action. We had this very topping sort of reversal signal the other day, and next day up we go. Do you know what I mean? It's just any time you think it's going to go down, me included, you just get punished the next day. Now, the sells I've been doing that I've just started in the miners, the little trims, are minuscule. They're just ceremonial, symbolic, and I stopped doing them for like 2 weeks or something. So I don't mind nibbling, here, making up for the nibbles that I didn't do over there. It's great stuff. But even me, when I'm looking for a move down, because I got quite a bit of cash on the sidelines, although when I check it's only 20%, it's just not happening. Now, this is gold. The miners are up. We'll check the miners soon, but gold is basically just holding this breakout sideways. It looks like it just wants to go higher. It looks like it wants to go towards 3,700, 800, 900, and then maybe just fell around 4,000, which we can forgive it for because that would be a huge move. I'm starting to look at how much the moves were before, and 4,000 is totally accept, like within reason. And I think that's what's going to happen for the rest of the year, especially when you take into account it's September. And if they do actually do a rate cut, especially 50, I mean, where else can gold go? Silver also doing the same thing. Broke out and just grinding. You get these one or two candles, like look at this reversal candle. Next day it's green. Today we'll see. Gold, same thing, by the way. You had that like reversal, what is it, shooting star, whatever the name is here. Absolute reversal. Like close at low of day. Next day is green. Today, it doesn't even matter what the candle is now. It's all about what happens basically by end of day. But it's just sort of grinding sideways. It wants to go higher. That's the way I see it. DXY, which I usually cover at the beginning, doesn't matter too much. You can have the miners, even the metals, but especially the miners up regardless of what the DXY is doing, especially if it's just an average candle. It looks like it wants to reverse, go a little higher, maybe 98s, maybe even 99. I don't think 100 is in the cards, especially with what I expect to happen with the Fed. Eventually, that'll just flush and go to 95, and that will just justify what the metals are doing. But you don't even need that. Yield, same thing. They've been coming down because of the Fed stuff, but I think long term they'll go back up anyway. But that nothing ruins the plan and what's happening. Now let's go straight to the miners because for sure the outperformance continues. Look, we're not even grinding sideways, we're just grinding higher. Look at that close yesterday. Close a high of day. I mean, completely outperforming the metals, new highs, unlike the metals. And after this huge vertical move, you'd expect, okay, you don't want to stop it here. Fine. Here is just it's the rule. You got to come down at least. And it's just no, even though we had this red day where we close at low of day back inside the resistance, next day it just opens almost at, close a new high. That's super strong. So you could have metal days where they're sideways and the miners will be up 1%, and that's what's happening. It's total re-rating. And I love it. GDX, that's GDXJ. There's nothing to look at in GDX because there's no historic chart anymore. I can just zoom in because there's nothing to look at on the left. We've beaten the historic high. GDXJ is not the case, and I love that because it's easier to trade. Now, for me, I look at GDXJ and there's nothing incredibly obvious until 100, which used to be a long way away. Now it's only 15%. That's just a good week. That's an average week. And that is easy to do when you've got gold climbing towards, 3,800, 900, 4,000. Definitely get there before 4,000. Probably get there before 3,800. So GDXJ, we've got a little target in sight, big number. I think that's something to celebrate once we close above it. Silver, SIL. At least we've got some chart there. Now this one, small level coming up, but nothing crazy. The big one I think is up here. 20%. Yeah, GDXJ, I think is now something you can use to trade the miners more than GDX, funny enough. And then you can also use SIL and SILJ, of course. Yeah, you just got to look at how I think this is doable, 20%. If gold starts to run, silver will outperform, and then SIL being the seniors, that's a that's a pretty likely target. And then you got the all-time high up here. That probably takes another run. I don't know. That's probably silver 44. Right, 44, 20%, and 50. Yeah, if silver's testing 50, SIL has to be up here. SILJ, Zoom in a little bit also. Yeah, this is just running towards 20. Very nice. Look at yesterday's close, despite the candle before. Close at high of day. Suggests it wants to keep going almost no matter what. You start to close above 20. What's the next one? Well, it's all the way up here. It's 21.50. And then you don't have any more historical chart. So you're going to have to use SIL to trade SILJ. And you're going to have to use GDXJ for GDX, if you see what I mean. And for different reasons. Like here, there's not enough data. The other ones, it's the data's been breached. It's no longer worthwhile. So that's useful to know, but otherwise it's just grinding higher. And I've started to nibble, what was it the other day, one or two, and then yesterday, let's go straight to portfolio update. I've got every day like one or two stocks just screaming up completely for their own reasons. So let's start with the Newmont, for example, yesterday totally outperformed the GDX and its peers, at least the ones I have on my list. It's like up 3.5%. It's quite a big day for Newmont. I know the candle was good on GDX, but it looks like it wants to make a beeline towards the all-time high. And I'm just gonna let it do it. I didn't trim any Newmont yesterday. I know what this means. My last trim was it there? Was it below? It was probably 74 this area, and I'm just leaving it. This is the big run. There's no resistance until basically 86. So I think I've got to sell at 84, 80, not 85 and 86, and just because it's the all-time high, and I think it gets there very easily. And I'm just going to let it be. And my rule now that I never planned to do, it's just the way it's ended up being, is all the all the miners that have taken out their historic high and have no other data on the left, right? Like Newmont does. So, but the Agnico Eagles, the Wheatons, the Franco Nevadas, I've got no sells for them. I'm just like, just no sells. If I see a massive topping formation, I just feel like we're gonna have a big drop or some news hits, then I'll just quickly react and sell whatever I need to sell to reduce the value to a level that I think. So at the moment, my level, the value I've assigned all my miners is huge. I've got a label on my Excel called huge, which just means that you have to be worth the maximum. And if all of a sudden something happens, I'll just move that back down. I'll say you guys all have to be worth medium and I'll trim them, I don't know, 20% or something, 25, 30%, something crazy. For me, that's crazy. I don't see the thesis changing though. Even that kind of a sell would be because there's some temporary, I don't know, some temporary event that means we're going to go down for a few weeks, maybe months. But at the moment, it's all huge. And, um, and it's only the miners that have still data that I've got sells in, but otherwise the other ones I just leave them. So Newmont little trims for the all-time high. Then I'm just gonna leave it, let it run. Yeah, Barrick similar. Barrick's just been great. Okay, it didn't beat Newmont yesterday, but just look at that. It's crazy. Sometimes I have to really think about this kind of move. Like I've never been in stocks that make like in a group of stocks within a sector. Well, just the miners. I've just never been in the miners when they make this type of move. I wasn't in 2011. I was in after, whilst they were getting slaughtered for years. Yeah, this one, obviously it wants to go to the big all-time sort of this period here. So 31 is my sell. I think I've got one at like 30 and 31, little trim, bit like Newmont. And then I leave it. I will put sells up here as it starts to make a run up here. But I just, no point in putting them in yet. That's going to take another big move, I think. That's probably gold 4,000 to get Barrick up here. It's already done a crazy run. So little trims there. Agnico Eagle, however, has no sells because it's taken out its all-time high. So this I'm just leaving. If it comes down, good, I'll rebuy. I'll start making a video with the levels I think that I'll rebuy at. But for now, the sells have been removed since a while ago, actually. So that one's just left it. Now, Pan American Silver has changed for me because Mag Silver that I also own just got incorporated, and I've got some weird fraction, like 0.2236 shares or something. I just want to get rid of that. So I'm looking to trim this, and it's a good excuse. I would do it anyway. I'm looking to trim this at 37.99 just to get rid of that fraction, not just a fraction, just to make it a nice big number. So I'm going to trim a little bit just here, 37.99. We probably need silver to keep going a little bit for that because it's just a massive descending. And to be honest, most of the massive descending lines that I've identified, the market's gone straight through it. Normally it works, but right now we're in some crazy period, but fine, I don't care. So I'll trim a little bit there, 37.99, and I'll let the rest ride. I don't normally I would trim the next horizontal level 40, but if silver's, I mean, if we're going up there, it's probably because silver's making a move towards 44. And if that's the case, Pan America deserves to be at new all-time highs. But anyway, my the value of Pan America has gone up huge because it incorporated mag, so it's way too heavy. It was already the heaviest mine, and now with mag, it's worth an obscene amount. I think it's still a stable and safe investment, but risk management says you need to trim a little bit there. Next one is Wheaton. This one, don't have to talk much about it. It's a bit like Agnico, made new all-time highs. No more cells in place. Let it run. I don't care about big numbers anymore. It's like Franco-Nevada, for example. I had one cell left for Franco-Nevada. It's made new all-time highs. The rule is for me, remove all the cells. You buy the dips. We're in this for the long run. No more historical data on the left to excuse your habit, addiction to trim. I love to do it. There's no data. So remove your cells, buy the dip. That's the long-term strategy. But I thought, okay, if you can sell big numbers, let's do 199.99. But then where do we close today? Or yesterday? We closed at 199 point, we're basically half a percentage away. If gold's up, if the miners decide to go up tomorrow, 200 is not level. You just go straight through it. You probably start at 203. So actually, I removed that too. I think I removed that, but I should remove that because it makes no sense. The big numbers don't make sense anymore, especially if you close just below it and the metals will keep running. Like, who cares about big numbers? So, it's just more and more reason to just remove cells, actually. Metalla, that's just struggling a little bit. It feels like it wants to come down. I think if we have a move down in the metals, Metalla will be one of the first, one of the weakest ones. That's fine. It's had a huge run and it's really made up for its poor performance in the past. I like it again. It's worth a decent amount. It used to be worth very little. If we come down, I'll buy that back. No cells in place anymore. I already sold this move to 578. Next, yeah, the mid tiers. And I'm so happy I didn't trim these because their value has increased a lot recently. Look at this grinding higher and the squeeze yesterday. You see, this one was up 9%. At one point, it was up like 12 or something. Look at this in the middle of no man's land. No, it didn't revert, stop at a particular level. The next level, I've got little trims for this one, very small. It took one out yesterday. One was it 10.99 or something? I think 10.99. I had one or something like that. But anyway, next one is that it's just the horizontals. It's going to be 11.99. Next one is going to be probably 13.49. Next one's going to be 14.49, just below, the pre and the post gap fills. Little trimmed, just because of how crazy the value has gone up, and it's just you got to take something off. And I'm just taking like 1, 2, 3% off each time. The value of the hold of I am gold up here is huge, way bigger than where it is there, even after all the sales, obviously. But I mean, look at I'm Gold, amazing. And I think the mid tiers, it's been a while they've been doing this, are going to be outperforming the seniors, and it makes sense. The seniors they'll be consistent. You can depend on them, but the mid tiers, they're just the margins, the all-in sustaining costs. With gold going up, it changes the formula so much for some of them. Equinox, another one. Look at that. The last 2, 3 days, just huge. I mean, especially since here, huge moves. Again, another one of 8%. I mean, just these two alone make my daily profit huge. And then I had Heckler also the other day, and the profit's been absolutely, absolutely ridiculous. And that's why also I was looking at reinstituting the cells. Equinox, next stop all the way up here. Did I sell Equinox? I think I did. I mean, trimmed. I think I trimmed it. Where did I trim it? I know there was a sell I had in at 10.99, and again, a bit like Franco Nevada, it's so close. If we go up, I moved it up. I moved the 10.99 sell up to 11.19, whatever. I just want to sell this move, like one trim, have something to show for it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, 50 shares, just something. So yeah, I've got two more cells left, if I remember. One for this level here and one for that level there. And that's a huge move, but that's a move that's justified. And I think long term Equinox is just one that's going to scream up and become a huge miner. And that explains this move. And this move isn't that much actually. Think about it. It's been trading in this range, even though it's a rising channel. Like we've only gone up a little bit there, you know. If we have a retracement, we're almost back down to here. Like, you know, you could easily see a retracement back to $9 if gold all of a sudden takes a big hit, a temporary hit, and then that's a huge buy. So Equinox not too aggressive with the sell because I think it's easily going to make new all-time historic highs. B2 gold is just constantly sideways grinding. Just needs to take out this little level here, 440. No sells, and I think my next sell's up here. Little trims, it's just back to little trims. But these miners are worth so much more than they're allowed to be worth according to my Excel. Harmony, the one I bought on the drop whilst everything else was going up, is all the way back up here. I think in a couple of weeks this thing's making new highs and it's at 20, and it'll be. I mean, it's already worth quite a lot. It'll be worth like some of the like B2 gold's not worth too much for me. Harmony will soon be worth as much as B2 gold. I always remember Harmony is just an amazing performer. Despite the bad news, rising costs, I think the price of gold going up just changes it. These consider it a mid-tier gold producer. They're just going to scream up. I forgot about Aris Mining. Aris Mining is starting to. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole history. Another new all-time high, 52-week high, new close. It's so close to $10. And if I zoom out, I used to never have to zoom out. Now I have to. If I zoom out, $10 is a level, not just psychologically, it's here, support being lost, and then it just stayed below for years. We are now approaching this old level. So $10 has to be sold, 9.99, even though we're so close to it. Here I left it. I said no, we leave it because it's such a massive level. And after that, I have no idea what to do about it because the chart is so crazy. There's probably a level here, 14, 15. But I thought, wait, the move from 10 to 14, that's 40%. How is that the next level? There must be something in between. And I don't want to start looking at this level and identifying where the next. I'm gonna leave this one because it's too difficult to trade and I think it can really run. It already has, but this one, what's the next level? 12 and then 14. The gap, I don't even, I, it's a special one. And it's good news that it's this crazy, but I'll trim 10. I got nothing else after that. I want to see what happens, but this one could be completely crazy in a good way. SBSW, okay, that's following, the other metals too. I trimmed this. I'm quite happy about that. Let it run. I think one more sell there, and then I let this one run towards, the next levels. This one's had a huge move, and I think all the metals will go up actually. Palladium actually had a good move yesterday, I think. Okay, let's go to silver. It's all about silver. First, Majestic, which apparently has operational issues. So this has been delayed, this breakout. It has not broken out. This move up is from before, the move before in the well, miners and the metals. But this thing should be at 14, right? If you were to make an average, all the other ones have had vertical moves up, it should already be now at 14. And you'd say the run towards 44 and 50 could probably take us to the 20s. We're at not even 10. This is relative to the others a huge buy, in my opinion. It's worth a lot for me. It's not worth more than Hector and CDE because of the moves they've had, but still, what doesn't go up must come down. If silver has a move down before this one starts to break out, this one will be a huge buy, especially gap fill. But it's ridiculous that it's down there. But if this is a sustained move in silver that'll last a year, 2 years, 5 years, we take out 50, retrace, test 50, 50 holds of support, and then we start moving to 60, 70. Something like First Majestic must be worth so much more than where it is now. So this one, normally I would worry, but I just feel like this is a massive buy. So, but I'm not actually buying. I've got enough in it. It's just waiting, waiting. We need that close above 10, I think. Then we start running up to these two levels. Start with 1150, then to 14. And only wait for that one. Fortuna, also grinding higher, not squeezing like the others. This one also has two levels. I got 850, then I got the run towards 10, which is the all-time high. So I think by the time we're at 44, we're testing 10. But slightly disappointed in this one, just like First Majestic. I think First Majestic will run and make up for it. Fortuna, I'm not sure. Fortuna should already be testing $10. Right, from disappointment to absolute euphoria. This one here, I did my first trim this day. I did like 14 something. I thought we are gonna come down. Next day we came down, not too much. That was when silver just paused for one day, and where are we now? We're at new all-time high, you know, new close, not new all-time high, but you know what I mean. Next up, I've got little trim set, 15.99, 16.99, tiny stuff. This thing is worth way more than it should be because the trims I do are so pathetic. The moves up, every move up just makes up for it and more. I mean, once we start hitting 17, this is worth as much as the seniors, like, except Pan America. And it's not allowed, according to my equation, nowhere near even CDE. Crazy moves. Then we go to Heckler, which has started to be worth as much as CDE. Because look at the last, I mean, look at this week. Look at that. From 9, gap up, and 3 days later, you're at 11. Doesn't sound like much, but it is. I mean, look what we've done, gap and run constantly. It's crazy. From 650, we basically almost 100% move in 2, 3 weeks. And by the way, I feel like 13 is easily doable. Next stop is 11.49. I didn't even put a sell in for Heckler. I didn't even have a sell in. So I was like, all right, tomorrow, if we keep going, I have to take something off. Little 2% trim, 11.49, and then 12.99, like a 3% trim. And then when you zoom out, well, let's zoom out a bit more. Once we take out this 2008, so 2011 high is about to be taken out. So Heckler's chart is a bit different to the others, and the chart data goes back down to 9080. So I don't even know if we can trust any of this. But if it starts to squeeze crazy, then this stuff will be the excuse to find resistance. So it will come into play, even though the whole formula behind Heckler has changed so much since then. But we've taken out 2011 high. 2008 high is supposed to be lower than 2011, by the way. So this already is a bit different to the others. But look, we've taken out all of this, so now it's been in squeeze mode for a while. So I'm going to trim those two levels and let it run, and then we'll see about that. But once silver's at 44, I think we're above 14 and running. It's crazy. This is worth as much as CDE. CDE and Heckler have been the best if you measure them now. CD is still my favorite. EXK, I added to EXK yesterday. I never thought I'd add to a silver stock just yet before it dropped, but look at this, retrace, retrace, retrace. Packet support pretty clear. I think silver wants to keep going overall. I don't really understand why it's coming down. I think it had bad earnings and then higher costs and all this. I did a little query on AI, but otherwise, don't care. Silver goes up. Next earnings will be better, and it makes up for all that. So I just bought a little bit because it's not worth that much compared to the others. Now it's worth average decent amount. And then I got my little juniors. So one of them is after my buying is all the way up here. So I was just buying, chasing in case we run all. This is basically a small, tiny pocket rocket that I'm looking to trim if we go all the way up here. I don't really care what happens. If it crushes and goes all the way down there, I'll probably double my position. Otherwise, if it goes up or down 20%, I don't care. I'm kind of leaving this one for the big, big move. Same as Juanto, whatever you call it, which had a good close yesterday. That's true. This one is obviously very sensitive to the price of silver. If silver starts to run to 50, this one goes crazy. That's what this one's for, the run to 50 or even higher. I'd probably sell half the position at 50 and then let the rest really be a lottery ticket. These two are worth about the same at the moment, although Aftermath it is probably more dependable. And finally, the other one I kept on forgetting on is Aya Gold and Silver. This one, I think it's pretty good mine. And I probably should have doubled my position, but I bought, I think this day here, I think I bought around 13. Obviously, kept on going up. Next move is just up there, all the way to 19, which is 25% and quite easy to do. This is like an easy 25% gain, and it's ready to go. Look at yesterday's close, and technically looks very strong. So yeah, the miners have been absolutely continuing perfect. Some of the miners have really made moves. Look at this one here. Look at Hecla Iron Gold, Equinox the other day. Some others the other days, CDE. It's been amazing, and I feel like I'm caught up in the momentum. I feel like I have a plan if it retrace. I have a lot of cash in the sidelines, even though it's still worth about 20%. It should be worth more in my portfolio. 20% is okay, but I like to have 25. But yeah, we come down, I'm buying, even though they're worth so much already. I know that I shouldn't be looking at the value, I should be looking at the percentage, the portfolio. And I think long term nothing's changed. And if we keep going up, I'm gonna keep these trims because they don't change the equation at all. And it's something to show for. You don't want to have something go up 20% and then it comes back down. So anyway, that's just the way I am. So good luck. I feel like I'm getting used to these crazy moves every day, but we've got to appreciate it. And I think sell sometimes, just trim, just to not lose track of the big objective, which is to make money and take profit. Ultimately, you only make money when you take profit. So, all right, good luck. Let's see what's happened.